Had a long day. You know what it is though? It's like this fucking Christmas work. Mexicans work harder during Christmas. That's what it is. That's Jesse. He's out like 4 hours longer, dealing with shittier traffic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keyboard Warriors. My name is Eddie Law. Of course, you guys know the crew. We got Fred Kirby out of Dayton, Ohio. We got Jesse Rebecca out of California. By the way, Jesse, you're not on fire, are you?
No, not today. Hopefully there's no more wind and no more fires, no more bums, starting pit fires or whatever.
Is that legit what happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one the one near the Getty or whatever, I think that's what they were saying. Like some bums were trying to cook some food or something, and then it got out of control. So
son of a bitch. All right, then. All right. And joining us tonight, our guest from the Little Joe's podcast. This is Blake. Blake, go ahead and let the people know where you're from and exactly where they can reach you.
Yeah, what's going on, man? Your boy Money Blake in the building. Thank you so much for having me on over here, man. I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan of the show. I try to tune in as much as I can. Loaded Joe's MMA, man. What can I say? We're out here. We do breakdowns, interviews, talk about life and everything in between. Give podcast tips. I do whatever I can for everybody out there, and have a good show. Everybody can follow the show on Stitcher, iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're pretty active, and if you send me a message or a dick pic, I might reply. We'll figure it out from there. We'll figure it out.
All right. So, Fred, you want to talk a little boxing?
Yeah. Okay. So, here it is, boys. I was just asking y'all. So you were going into it, Eddie. Did you guys watch the Lomachenko, Ridigow? How the fuck you say his name, Money?
Rigondeaux.
I definitely can't say it that good.
Oh, fuck.
That little Cuban. Him. Did y'all watch that fight?
Jesse, see it?
I watched highlights of it enough to get an idea, and really the controversy behind all that. I know we'll get into it, but it seemed pretty obvious what was going on there.
Yeah, and so listen, I don't even want to get into the controversy. I don't want to talk about his hand, whether it was broken, which we know it wasn't now for the record, but I don't, whatever. That's not important because this is an MMA show. Now, we're starting the conversation off with a boxing topic, but it does still relate to MMA. Where the fuck did I see that? I think it was Dana White did that scrum a week or two ago or some shit like that. And he said that at the beginning of the year, he has got a shitload of boxing guys coming in, and he has set aside, I think he said 2 to 4 weeks. Now, I don't know, like, if you guys follow the sport like that, but Dana White don't set 2 to 4 weeks aside for nothing or nobody. That is a huge block of time for him, which makes me think that he's taking this very seriously. Add that in with him wearing the Zuffa boxing t-shirt during the whole Conor Floyd thing. I don't think that was on accident. I think that Dana White, and plus, look, man, the UFC got bought by WME. We all know that Dana White has a little less of a say of what's going on in the company now. I think he's looking for another baby to breed and to make bigger. Hence all these meetings with all these cats in boxing. Now, I don't know how plausible it is for him to pull this off, but my idea, watching the Lomachenko fight this weekend, watching even the Floyd Conor fight, which that's not really a good example. We'll take that one way. But the Triple G Canelo fight, Anthony Joshua and Klitschko, even watching Deontay Wilder destroy that one fat boy here recently. Boxing has been very fucking entertaining for me. So the idea of maybe Dana White being able to get possibly some of these big talents in the same organization, Blake, me and you were DMing about this. Get rid of some of the weight classes, take the MMA platform and apply it to modern day boxing. What I realized watching some of these boxing matches this year, it's not boxing that I don't like. And it's not that they don't have stars. Triple G is amazing. Lomachenko is amazing. Fuck, I know people don't like him like that, but I fuck with Deontay Wilder. I love the way he fights. I mean, if you don't think he's exciting, you're a fucking jerk. So, okay, let me throw it to you now, Blake. I have this magical idea of Dana, sneaking away and signing some guys and creating Zuffa boxing with maybe like 9 divisions and creating this big happy boxing realm. Now I realize everybody's got contracts and shit. So how possible is that? How possible is it that guys like Lomachenko start saying, okay, let me fight out my contract and see what Zuffa's doing?
That's really interesting, man, because in 2 years that could be a fucking possibility, right? Like, the funny thing is him doing this, him taking time. The only time he's taking away is fucking to talk to Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's gonna come back. That's the only time he takes away. Does Conor need something? No. Okay, UFC needs me over here. You know, does Ronda need something? No. Okay, UFC needs me over here. I got to go be the savior. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The plausible thing though is him bringing in, you know, Eddie Hearns, who's Anthony Joshua's promoter. Him bringing in, you know, Bob Arum, Dan Goosen, all these promoters who, again, have separately. They all have the action figures. They all have the stars, right? Thing I'm interested in is Dana bringing everybody together and saying, listen, what if we fight for a Zuffa boxing belt? What if we get your guy and your guy? It's all competing. We're all doing this. We fight for a Zuffa boxing belt. What ends up happening is if he does something like this, and I know this is kind of out of the realm, but he needs to be the bridge. I think what I'm getting at, he needs to be the bridge now for stars to know what he's capable of. Because if I'm fucking Lomachenko, listen, Top Rank's treating me very fucking nice right now. Bob Aram's lining up my pockets real quick. I can, you know, take an airplane back to, you know, fucking Russia. I could take a fucking boat back to, you know, my yacht. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I've got money.
But can Bob Arum consistently provide him with high-level competition that's going to make us want to watch him fight? Like, I'll keep it funky. I didn't know who the little Cuban was, but because everybody hyped him up and was like, this is a fight you need to watch, all of a sudden I got intrigued. Can they keep doing that with him if Bob Arum don't want to co-promote with these other boxers or boxer, you know, promotions rather?
And that's what Dana White needs to do. He needs to bridge everybody together. All separately, these motherfuckers don't want to work with each other. They, you know, Bob Arum barely want to work with Floyd Mayweather to put the Manny Pacquiao fight together. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the problem. Fucking forever. You know. That's the fascinating thing is all these promoters separately have individuals who can't compete. Like Gervonta Davis, he's a 130 fighter. I don't know if he's ready for Lomachenko, but here's the thing. He's powerful enough to knock that motherfucker out, and he's fast enough to knock the motherfucker out. He's a Mayweather Promotions fighter. When's the next time we're going to see Mayweather and Top Rank work together? I don't fucking know. But that's a fight at 130. If you want to move up, you know, I believe it's Golden Boy. They got Mikey Garcia. And you know, he's 140. He moved up to 140. He can move back down to 135, but then we need to see Lomachenko go to 135. I think what really people are not into is the politics of boxing. They're not into it. Like, they don't know the fucking who all the 18 weight class champions are, right? Like, there's
exactly
one weight class, there's 18 belts. You
right.
Know,
right. That's why I don't like boxing.
Your belt, you know. This is why, like a Zuffa boxing, if they say, listen, you want the Zuffa boxing belt, they need to build that belt up and make it the pinnacle thing to have. Like, yeah, you got the WBO belt, you bought that shit. You buy your opponents. Yeah, you got the WBA belt. You just fucking fought some bum in fucking Canada. Who gives a fuck? The belt you want, some fucking Zuffa belt. You need to come over here. Let's set the shit up. They could be the platform for this, maybe not necessarily a promoter. Or at least start that way. And I think that would be a really smart idea. So whatever he's doing, whatever he's cooking, it's definitely something smart. I don't know what it is though, unfortunately.
What do you think,
Eddie? Can I interject here?
Let's hear it, Jesus. Come on, be the negator response we know you're going to be.
No, you know what? I like what you guys are saying, but I think the problem that we also have is exactly what you guys are pointing out, is that there's too many belts and too many people to keep track of. I think what Zuffa boxing should be, and I think it would be a smart idea for them, is like Blake is saying, a unifier. So under Zuffa boxing, you have everybody come together and make these great, big time promotional fights, like, you know, Conor versus Mayweather, or, you know, Manny Pacquiao versus Mayweather, or, you know, just some of these epic fights in boxing that we want to see that you won't get to see somewhere else. And I think if it's under like a banner of Zuffa boxing, and it basically becomes a place where you go to watch these epic fights, and it's not about a championship, it's just watching these great boxing guys come together and fight just to see who is the best. A better avenue than starting a whole new promotion and having new belts and weight classes and all this stuff. I think that's a better idea for what Zuffa boxing could be. Because think about it that way. Instead of, you know, creating a whole new company with belts and all that, You just bring everybody under one umbrella to fight these big fights, these big money fights, and everybody makes a lot of money.
Fuck that. I say we go old school gangster style, goddammit. If I'm DW, I get all those sissies in a room and I say, check it out, boys. We're starting Zuffa boxing. We're making motherfucking 9 weight classes just like the UFC. And when your fucking boxers get done, they're signing with us. We're going to fucking listen. Need I fucking remind you guys, the UFC has the backing of Hollywood now. They got WME money. If they can fucking con silly ass Ari fucking whatever the fuck into buying into this, they pretty much got unlimited pockets. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could for real make a hard push at these guys, and everybody's only binded by their contract. I mean, this isn't illegal. If they can convince Lomachenko, like, what's he got? 4 or 5 fights? That's a long time, right? But get them done. Get them out. You're just going to smash these cans. When you get done with that, you come over here and we'll be signing talent the whole time, getting ready to revolutionize boxing, man.
See, the thing with that is that's what PBC tries to do, right? Like PBC, Al Heyman put all this money behind all these boxers, and he did great, right? He's like pumping, like, you know, he got all these investors in dollars, I think it was, and to put on all these amazing fights with all these amazing cats. And, you know, we got to see like Keith Thurman in there to sort of come up the ranks, and fucking Amir Khan fight Chris Algieri. Like, we got to see some stars versus stars type thing. I don't think that they need to have another PBC. The belts, or I think, are signed to the fighters. They're like, okay, but what's in it for the fighter? Yeah, they get an amazing fight. What if they lose though? Like, fuck, like they're putting a lot on the line, like, to take the L. Taking an L in boxing is not like taking an L in MMA.
Massive. If you lose that O on your record as a boxer, you're they think you're done. They think you need to retire. Yeah. It's fucking insane.
But see, I think
40 fights. You know what I'm saying?
We could change that though, boys. We could change that with Zuffa boxing.
No, let's not be silly. Like, we can add new audience members. I don't know if we can change the system of how the everything has been, and how people are still seeing, how the critics, how trainers, how the whole boxing world is still going to see what's going on, right? If you're going to do it, you got to do it big. You got to go fucking balls deep. Some sort of belt has to be on the line, but it has to be the most important. It's got to be the diamond, the pinnacle, the thing. Like, it's got to be what WBO is trying to be, but can't, because you can't get all these fucking people in the same room to fight each other. It's got to be that. It's got to be special.
But hold on, though. Like, boxing wasn't always like this, right? Ali lost. Frazier lost. Foreman lost. Goddamn it. Until fucking silly-ass Floyd came around crushing all of his tomato cans. I mean, like, it's okay to lose in boxing if you lose to somebody who's great. Like, is anybody really going to... I guess the Triple G Canelo fight ended in a draw, didn't it?
Right.
I just have Triple G winning in my mind. I was going to say, does anybody really look down on Canelo for losing that fight? I don't. I mean, I think he lost that motherfucker, but
you're absolutely right. Like, if you take an L, they'll still, like, if the promotion's behind you, the machine's behind you, it'll still build you up. Think Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo Alvarez. Like, there's numerous people to name, right? Like, you can still get behind it. But the fact is, still something has to be there besides it being an amazing fight. Like, that might not be enough to get these fighters in there. That might be like, shit, like, that's still yo, coach, man, that's still a scary fight, bro. Like,
I
money's right, but
I definitely agree with you guys, but I agree with Fred. Like, if you want to break into boxing at this point, you've got to revolutionize what they're doing over there in boxing. And there's not many ways to do it. I think the other problem that you're looking at is, I get what you guys are saying, that, especially Fred, that if you take a loss in boxing, it hurts you a lot, but we can change that. But it's also, is Dana White the guy to do that? Because we see how he treats his fighters in the UFC currently, where somebody doesn't take a fight or does a boring win or takes a loss, and he's the first one to, jump off the hype train and start, sending them off to Bellator or whatever, Like, do we really think that this guy is going to be able to be that promoter that can sell a guy that has 2 losses or 3 losses, to top contenders? Is he the guy that can do that? That's the other question you have to.
sometimes you're lucky this isn't Survivor because we'd vote you off the island. Listen, DW plays favorites. Fucking Matt Brown doesn't get that treatment.
That's true.
I mean, there's a lot of people that Dana White actually has a really good relationship with, though, that he bends the rules for and he looks out for. He's just a bit of a cunt in that way. He gets cunty. But I wouldn't say that he just, if you lose, he immediately throws you under the bus. Like, you know, it's all relative.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Here's the thing: the changing the changing box is gonna be a bitch because it's so old. It's been around for a long time, and it's already been done before, right? So, like MMA, the reason the UFC is so big, no one had done MMA the way the UFC did, right? So, I mean, that was a lot easier. So, what up?
Yeah, but though, Eddie, you know what though? It's the time to do it because think of all the stuff that's disrupting a lot of old businesses like taxis. You know, you've got Uber. You know, hotels. Now you've got, you know, Airbnb and stuff like that. There's so many ways to revolutionize something that's been old and outdated. You just got to find the right niche. And I guys are onto something, but I think saying you have to really make it something that is number one. That is so epically good. You have to tune in. You have to be a part of this, and you have to be the champ.
So here's my point with this then, and we'll try to wrap this up quick because we know that Blake doesn't have a whole lot more time left. I think the biggest point with this, listen, what separates the UFC from Bellator at the end of the day? Talent. Okay? At the end of the day, the UFC has John Jones. The UFC has TJ Dillashaw. The UFC has Dominic Cruz, DC. They got those guys. If somehow Zuffa Boxing can get Triple G, not saying they can, but if they can get Deontay Wilder, if they can get Anthony Joshua, listen, I don't know shit about boxing. I know who the heavyweight champion is right now, right? I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there, but right now we all know it's that big Brit named Anthony Joshua, right? Like he's the guy. If Zuffa Boxing signs him, that immediately solidifies their heavyweight division. Because who the fuck else is there in heavyweight boxing anyways? You get Deontay Wilder and about 4 more guys, you got the heavyweight division. Then you just start breeding prospects. So I feel like if they get like 5 guys, if they get Lomachenko, Triple G, Anthony Joshua, not saying they can, but if they did, hell, even Manny Pacquiao's old ass, bring him in the fold. If they could do that, I feel like that would be like immediately everybody, even the boxing pundits would kind of be like, whoa, they got who? Anthony Joshua is a Zuffa boxing champion now? What the fuck? That immediately gives that belt all the credibility it needs.
That's absolutely 100%. And like, yeah, I mean, some of these divisions are just stacked, like top stacked, right? Like heavyweight, for instance, like there's just like 5 guys. That's it. They just need to get in the room and fucking fight each other. I like it, Fred. I like what's going on in your mind, man. I can tell you've been putting some thought behind this. Put a little salt and pepper, let it marinate. I like it, man.
Yeah, well, we was DMing about it, and I was kind of, like I said, man, I've noticed that I've been really intrigued by some boxing matches this year that really doesn't usually happen for me. And Lomachenko he is that good. Watching him fight, it was like, wow, this is what even like I said, I hate to keep riding his dick, but Deontay Wilder, watching that dude fight reminds me of old school heavyweight fights. Of course, he's sloppy. He looks like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of boxing pundits would say that Anthony Joshua beat the shit out of him because he's so sloppy, but I love his ferocity, the fucking masks, the whole 9. It's very entertaining, man.
I want to add to your point. I don't know. So I'll end my time with y'all like this. I don't know what's going to happen with Dana White. I don't know what platform but imagine this. Imagine they use not just the talent pool from boxing and what have you, like to make into a promotion, but they could also, like if they signed somebody, like for instance, Vasily Lomachenko, we'll use him. They sign him for whatever deal, but they also now, they can make a TV show, have so-and-so fly out to so-and-so, and you see him training, and he's showing, you know, who the fuck doesn't have good hands at fucking 135, showing them how to get better hands, right? Showing them some movement and shit. Like, that'd be some shit I'd be interested in rather than watching the 89th season of fucking Tough. Yeah. I don't want to see that shit no more. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some new shit. And that could be these guys to bring them up, be like, listen, you want to be on TV more? You want people to know you more? You ever been on TV? You want to lay on this couch real quick? We can talk about this. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I think Blake just brought the new season a tough.
Yeah.
No, listen, that's real. That's real shit.
No, but think about it though. You don't think that they would do that? Like they would just be like, "Hey, like we got a champion in boxing in our Zuffa boxing, and we're gonna do a tough season of boxers to figure out who the hell's gonna fight this guy." Like, I think we're just gonna see a rehash of a lot of the ideas that they've had already.
I don't give a fuck. I'd watch. And I tell you what, if they wanted to fly Lomachenko out to show DC how to box, I'm all over that.
I'm all over
that. Like watching Lomachenko like give DC and vice versa or something.
Yeah.
That would be cool as fuck, dude.
I'm telling you, you take the boxer, he just goes from city to city while he's in his off time, and he just shows all these people just techniques and shit, man. Like that's the that's the truth.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool, man.
Be a good show for sure, man.
I'm dropping the mic right there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me on, guys.
Hey, thanks for coming on, dude.
BizHound, so a little early. No, appreciate it, man. And everybody just follow Loaded Joe's MMA wherever your favorite podcast app is, and keep it Warriors, man. I appreciate you having me. I'm gonna stay tuned on the rest of the show while I put my stepdaughter to sleep.
All right, man.
All right, brother. Thanks for joining us, man.
Y'all welcome. Peace.
Later, buddy.
Later. So yeah, that was Blake from the Loaded Joe's MMA. You can follow them on Twitter at Loaded Joe's MMA. They're also on Instagram, iTunes, like I said, anywhere you follow, get your podcast, you can find their stuff. So that was really interesting, man. I didn't even think about that. And I wonder if Dana White's the guy to lead that. Like, I would love a Fertitta to be involved. I really would.
Listen. I said it in the beginning. Dana White does not put that amount of time aside for something that he does not have a lot of, thought invested in. You're talking 4 weeks for Dana White. When's the last time that dude didn't talk about MMA for 4 weeks?
He went on vacation. He went on vacation, and then John Jones hit a pregnant chick.
When he had his ear hole fucking removed or whatever, when he was going through that fucking weird thing, like one thing, love him or hate him, man, Dana White does not leave this sport alone. That dude's never far from something. I mean, he's always watching or some shit, man. He's like the fucking godfather of this. So for him to put that much time to the side, it's big.
It means something.
No, you're right, but I also think that you also have to look at what's going on. I mean, he's also a multi-millionaire right now, and he's no longer, like you have said, he's no longer basically that driving force of the UFC. So if he can find something or foster a new baby and really bring it up, I mean, what was one of the things that he said, when he first, that deal first went through? He found it hard to get up out of bed every morning because he knew he no longer had to work. He was set for, a couple lifetimes now after this whole, UFC sell and everything, right? So the only thing that's going to get him out of bed is to basically create something from new. But I don't know, guys. I think it's a different world. Even though he was a boxing promoter before and a manager, I don't know if he's still got that that magic of promoting a whole new company and building it from the ground. He might just lose interest really fast if it doesn't work out as fast as he wants it to, man. And I think that's the fear. Of just going all in and seeing what he can do with this. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe. I mean, you never know. But I definitely think that that's true. Look at the Fertittas, right? The rumor is that they're trying to get an NFL team. I think all these guys have been rich for a very long time. They need motivation. And yeah, Dana White, we all know that Dana loves boxing. He's said it a million times. He's a huge boxing fan. So this makes all the sense in the world. Now, whether he can do it or not, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I tell you what, there are a handful of boxers out there right now that I would much rather watch box than some guys compete in the UFC. And that's saying a lot because I'm an MMA guy at heart. I'm an MMA head. But, if Triple G's boxing or Lomachenko's boxing or Deontay Wilder's boxing, the UFC better be running a real card or I'm watching the boxing match, man.
Yeah.
Or how about this? Fred? What if we get to the point where Zuffa boxing becomes like one of those things where they have an event, like let's say at Madison Square Garden with, their top, their top guys that they've acquired. And in Vegas, they have get to watch the UFC event, and then they live stream whatever boxing events happening over in Madison Square Garden. So on your pay-per-view, you get 2 big, awesome pay-per-view cards for the price of 1. Like,
Listen,
you see what I'm saying? Like, you could see how like the UFC could still make their money here, and Dana White still kind of gets a motivation to wake up in the morning and make these deals and make this stuff happen.
bro, can you imagine if they could actually figure this out? What event? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it not Affliction that had 2 rings at one show? Some MMA event ran an event, and they had a kickboxing ring, and then they had an MMA cage.
That was
It was in
Bellator.
the same. Was it Bellator?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Bellator
yeah.
just recently.
Okay, listen, that was dog shit. Okay,
Yep.
because it was garbage train. But if the UFC did that right, and they ran, let's say they run an MMA card, right, like a fight night type card with what we just watched, Brian Ortega and Cub Swanson, right?
Right.
Run an MMA card with that. Brian Ortega and Cub Swanson are and make the whole card MMA, because who gives a shit about the underlying boxers, right?
Yeah.
Make that an MMA card, and instead of Brian Ortega and Cub Swanson being the main event, let them be the co-main event to Anthony Joshua defending his heavyweight championship belt in the ring over there. Same venue, same night, same arena, but a real boxing match. You know what I'm saying? Triple G versus Canelo in the ring over there. Now, I know it's wishful thinking, and people are going, that's way too much money, blah, blah, blah. But listen, imagine the money it would generate. How many people are ordering that pay-per-view?
And it's not necessarily that it's like wishful thinking necessarily, is that it's a long ways away.
Right. But it's possible. It's one fight, just one great boxing match as one awesome cherry on a combat sports card.
One MMA fight between Stephan Bonner and Frank and not Rich Franklin, Forrest Griffin.
Right.
That's what
right.
I think you have to do it right, though. I don't think you can do the Bellator model of having 2 rings. I think you'd have to do more of like the MMA goes off first, and then you switch the entire cage, put up the ring, make it the centerpiece. Because I think that was the problem with the whole Bellator thing, is where you have 2 things happening at once, and you can't really concentrate on one thing. And then at the arena, a lot of people were saying that they couldn't see what was happening if they were sitting on one side, into the cage that they had, or into the boxing ring, because one ring is covering the other side. So I mean, and you also lose all those people in the front row. Like, there's a lot of things that I think Zuffa could and UFC could do a lot better, but you got to do it right.
Yeah, look, no matter what happens, Dana White's gonna do it his way. If we know anything about this motherfucker, he doesn't give a shit how everyone else does it. He's gonna do it on his own.
Right. And at the end of the day, we're getting a little wild with all that. You could just do like promotions on the same night. You could tie them in on the same cable networks and shit like that. There's just a million things. If he gets this boxing thing up and running, it's like a side hustle. Like, they got MMA, but if he can get boxing up and running and get a few legit champions signed, they could start really making some noise, man. So I just wanted to discuss that. I thought it was a cool topic and something that we might actually see happen. Maybe.
Yeah, we might talk about this for real sometime soon. You never know.
Exactly. All right. So what the fuck's going on in the MMA world?
All right, real quick. Shout out to everyone in the YouTube comments. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Dan from Oregon. UC is here. Priya Rose. Joey Tremendous. What up, dude? And dude, I love that people show up for all this stuff. So a couple comments here early on. Joey says second show for Eddie today. Oh yeah, I did the heel show earlier today. Yeah. As far as like actual stuff here, not a lot left for boxing, but here's a good point. And Fred, you tell me this is what started your curiosity back up about boxing. UC says the only boxing fight I ever saw was Floyd versus McGregor.
Well, okay, yeah, well, so that's a major problem then, right? Like, listen, man, it's easy to bag on boxing now, and don't get me wrong, I'm still more of an MMA head. I still love the idea of open combat and the idea of submissions and being the actual baddest man on the planet. But if you are not familiar with boxing, You have got, it's just like this, man. If you ain't never really listened to rap music like that, or you ain't never listened to rock or metal, you have got to go back and get yourself acquainted with the roots. If you've never watched it, if the only boxing match you've ever legit watched was Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, then you've never saw boxing. Go back and watch a couple Mike Tyson fights, or a couple Muhammad Ali fights, or Joe Frazier fights. Fuck Floyd Mayweather, dog. Watch old school Manny Pacquiao fights. Watch Deontay Wilder now. Watch Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. Watch Lomachenko. Like, go find these boxers and look up some of their highlights even, and you'll see why. You know what I mean? Go watch the Rumble in the Jungle. Go watch young George Foreman. That motherfucker was a machine, and I'm quite sure that he wasn't actually on steroids. Go watch some boxing out there.
No, I was gonna say, go watch that one that Joe Rogan always talks about on his show. Arturo Gotti and somebody else, that one round, the epic one round.
Yeah, man. And Hearns Hagler was just crazy, insanity.
I gotta say, if you're an MMA fan and you've never seen boxing, that's actually that's almost like disrespectful, like you're saying, Fred. You really have to look at like where boxing was, what all those guys did, the talent that it takes to be a top boxer. Because I think it was Luke Thomas that was talking about how transitioning from boxing to MMA, it's not easy, and for people to think that just because you're good at MMA over to boxing and be dominant, it's not. I mean, it's a very, very particular set of skills that you have to hone, and you have to be really good at, and you have to really know everything about boxing to really, really be good at it. And not many people are good at it. A lot of people try. I mean, you could walk down the street and find, your local boxing gym, and a bunch of guys, they're training for years and years and years. You'll never hear about them because it's not easy to do. So if you have the opportunity to go back and watch some of these boxing matches because you've never seen them, do it. And you're going to really get to enjoy the difference and the nuances of between MMA boxing and actual boxing. And you'll get to see a lot of the things that MMA fighters have liberties of doing that boxers don't get the liberty of doing. Some of the defense, some of the techniques, some of the, movements and stuff. There's just so many things, so many layers. So my advice to that person that had never seen boxing, please go back and watch a lot, just some of those ones that Fred, rattled off. Write them down, go on YouTube, give yourself a couple hours to go down the boxing rabbit hole. And trust me, you'll have an even bigger appreciation for MMA because of all that.
And listen, even if you're not a technique nerd, some of these fights are just dog fights. Hagler Hearns is insanity. I'm telling you, bro, some of these boxing matches, they just throw fucking heat at each other constantly. Like, if all you've seen is boxing, even if you've seen a few boxing matches, but all you've seen is like the last 5 or 6 years, you've got to watch some of those classic fights. Because I swear, some of them shits come up on my Facebook feed sometimes when I'm taking the kids to school in the morning, and I'll just kind of click on it and watch some of those old fights. And I'm like, God damn, boxers used to be fucking animals, man. I mean, they would just fucking bang the shit out of each other.
And shit, look, I mean, look, I mean, how do you put this? The classic examples of Tyson fights. Whenever you watch that, it wasn't that you were watching a fight. You want to see how long this motherfucker was gonna last, right?
Right.
That's all you want to see. Like right now, it's how we're seeing. Francis Ngannou, Chris Cyborg, stuff like that.
Right.
So
yep.
How we used to see Ronda Rousey. So I mean, and to a degree, Conor McGregor. But regardless, it's I highly recommend it. I was a boxing before I started this. So
Conor's our Ali.
Yeah,
Ali's another one, man. I mean, there's a reason why they call him the greatest. He was a great, skilled boxer. But if you like Conor, god damn, go watch some old Ali interviews. I mean, he was so eloquent and badass and fucking just. I don't know if you've ever seen it, when he was going back and forth with Joe Frazier. I think they were on the Tonight Show, which at this point would be the equivalency of going on like I don't know, I don't watch none of them shits, but like the David Letterman show or whatever, like the biggest like Tonight Show possible. Ali and Frazier are on there. They get the jawing back and forth. Ali pisses Frazier off so much that he dives on him. Yeah. They get into a full-out scuffle, a full-out brawl on live TV, man. I mean, Ali was something else for that time and generation. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You got to go check all that shit out, man.
All right, let's talk about some MMA here, man. UFC Fresno went down this last weekend. Main event: Cub Swanson, Brian Ortega did not go the way I thought it would go. Dude, Ortega's jiu-jitsu is ridiculous. First of all, I thought the fight was going to end with the Darce choke. Cub, I think, just fucking held his breath or some shit. I don't know what the hell was going on, but that was a fucking crazy fight. And for it to end the way it did, especially when he had to readjust the grip on the guillotine on the fly in midair. Ooh, that's some dirty shit, man. So Ortega's got the big name now. Holloway needs an opponent. It's him or Frankie. What are you thinking, Fred?
Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm so fucking on the Ortega hype train at this point. I listen, I think he's the future champ. I think he's eventually gonna beat Max. I think that let me start from the beginning. I think that Frankie has to get the Max fight. I don't want to get carried away. Frankie deserves it, and he's a legit test for Max. I still think Max wins that fight, but we got to do that fight first. And Brian Ortega's like the chillest hippie dude on earth, so he's like respectful enough to sit back and wait his turn anyway, so that's great. But as far as him, that motherfucker is a problem, Jack. He can strike. He is not afraid to stand in the pocket and bang. He can take a hell of a shot. He's like a fucking a Gracie that can bang. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got their BJJ skill set. His BJJ skill set is otherworldly. Now I know Cub isn't quite Damian Maia, but he's also no Brock Lesnar. I mean, he's a black belt. You know what I'm saying? I know there are degrees. There's black belts, and then there's Brian Ortega. So I get it. But when he touched him, he was in trouble. There, you don't see that, man. That's that old school Damian Maia shit. That's that Hoist Gracie UFC 1 shit. Like he touched him, and he was in that Darce choke, and then he touched him again in the second fucking round, and he was in a guillotine. And then he readjusted in midair like he was riding a fucking bull.
Yeah, man.
And got the tap from Cub, which is no bitch.
And Cub's a black belt.
And he's a tough guy, a veteran. This isn't a guy that's going to, that fight meant a lot to Cub. For him to tap like that, that shit must have been fucking sunk in tight as fuck.
I think he said at some point, he's like, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, I read that quote too, where Cub said that.
Yeah, he said he panicked in there, but... you know what, Fred? I agree with you, but you also have to look at who's in Brian Ortega's corner. I mean, he's got
Henner's in there,
right?
Coaches that you can have for jiu-jitsu, and to be one of the students of a Gracie, and to really like showcase your jiu-jitsu like that. I mean, it's amazing to see how this kid has really. I mean, his only fault to me was when he tested positive for a steroid in his first fight. That was the only downside to him. And the good thing is that he learned from his mistake. He admitted he made the mistake and all that stuff, and he's moved on from that. I just think that the only thing I really want to see is him versus a much more veteran striker, if that makes sense to you guys. Just because you saw Cub was still piecing him up on the feet. Cub was still much more dominant in the striking department, But like you guys said, if T City gets his hands on you, I mean, he's got chokes for days. He's got chokes. Yeah, and they're so fast and so easy for him to do. It's just intriguing for me to see what he could do against a guy that can really bang with him and really avoid those kind of submissions. Maybe like a Frankie Edgar would be a great matchup. But I mean,
Bruh,
what
I like?
Let's title shot right now. Let's do it.
Nah, you know what, man? We got to give Frankie the title shot. You know what I want to see for T City next, man, is the Korean Zombie.
Ooh, Doo-Ho Choi?
Nah. That's the Korean Super Bowl. Chang Sung Jung.
Yeah.
That because didn't he get a win over Dustin Poirier in his last fight? I mean, I know it's been a long time, but he ain't lost since the Jose Aldo shit, right? Like the Korean Zombie's still low key on a roll. And he's so exciting that, bruh, like that's the money fight for right now for me.
That would be Look, that makes complete sense. There's the thing too, real quick on the Swanson Ortega fight before we go back to Korean Zombie. While I pull up his record, I thought that the second the Cub went in there and let him clinch, or he clinched with Ortega, that shit was done. I thought Cub's game plan was going to be stay at distance, and I thought that's what he should have done. But Ortega's also taller, bigger. It was going to be a hard fight either way. So as soon as they got the clinch, man, it was pretty bad. Korean Zombie last fought at UFC Fight Night 104. Dennis Bermudez, he knocked him out first round.
Right.
But he before that he lost it to Jose Aldo in 2013. Remember, I think Chang Sung Young was the one that had to go to military service, right?
Right. But before that, he has submitted Dustin Poirier, right?
Yeah. So he got in a Bravo choke, Dustin Poirier. He knocked out Mark Hominick. He got Leonard Garcia in a twister. I remember that. Right. Got Leonard Garcia in a nasty twister too. And a twister is a hard thing to pull off in MMA. He fucking pulled that bitch off.
Yep. The Korean Zombie's a beast, man. And I think he's back. You're right. He had to do every fucking able-bodied South Korean male has to do 2 years in the military. Period. They don't give a fuck if you're a UFC star. You do your 2 years, period, or they'll kill you.
Yeah, like he was out for 4 years, and Dan just said, Dan from Oregon just said, Korean Zombie was out for a knee repair.
True.
Yeah,
after the Bermuda shit.
Right. So I mean, he kind of had like a shitty go, but regardless, he's back. So I wouldn't mind that fight. That'd be a good fight. All right. What else do we want to talk about on that card? Marlon Moraes, dude. God damn.
Yeah.
The way I mean, look, the way he finally. Yeah. When Aljo took a good shot. The problem is that switch kick was coming to the body, and it turned into a knee when Aljo's head was right there. That was a nasty knock. That was hard. A lot of people were like, "That's hard to watch." I love watching this shit. So I didn't give a fuck. But it was just like you saw Nike like, "Ooh shit!" Like, is he gonna get up soon, or is it gonna be a while? And apparently he's okay. So what's up?
Yeah, can we talk about something though? Can the UFC do a better job of addressing like when somebody gets like KO'd like that? Than trying to put the fighter that's being interviewed right up against like the corner of the cage and like completely avoiding what's going on where they're basically carting out Aljo out of the octagon.
Yeah, I think the reason they do that is because it's on FX or no, it was on FS1. If it was a pay-per-view, I don't think they would have done that.
But remember, we've had other pretty brutal knockouts, and they don't mention it. They don't even talk about the guy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just the bigger, I guess the bigger chunk of the audience, they want to see fights, but they don't want to see the fucking result of that shit. Unfortunately, it's weird.
Here's the thing. We all understand what this is, right? I mean, Fred, you and I understand that, like, I think we're all adults here, and we understand that this is a violent sport. Someone's eventually, going to have some very, very nasty injury due to this sport. But I think why can't we do like the WWE or the NFL approach where they go, hey, someone, he's down, he's getting medical attention. 10, 15 minutes later, hey, by the way, guys, he's in the back. He got checked out. He's great. He's talking. He's good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least have that fake idea to give to the care about your fighters a little bit.
Well, do we usually get that information in the post-fight show or something? Doesn't somebody back at the desk usually tell us how they're doing?
Usually the media is like on top of that shit, so like it'll be on Twitter in within minutes.
Well, I mean,
right?
even be on Twitter, like back at the Fox desk with fucking DC and Karen, whatever the fuck. Like, don't they usually give like updates and shit? Like Aljo's not dead.
Yeah. They kind of sneak it in. They really do. They mention it very quickly, so it's not like
they give that a little bit through different sources now. I guess I see what you're saying, Jesus. They should probably put it on the broadcast, but
yeah.
I mean, come on, we're a mainstream sport. That's what we want to be, right? So we gotta at least address situations. Because imagine the day that like let's say MVP crushes somebody's skull and the guy dies, and we just never talk about that fighter until some reporter goes in the back and goes, "Hey, Dana White, how's that guy? He's dead. Oh, damn." Like.
Listen,
that's gonna be awful.
I love MVP, but can we all just agree that this Cyborg lacks some density in his bones? I don't know why his head did that, quite frankly. I mean, we've seen a lot of knees. Usually your skin splits or you get a nice little gash before your skull just caves in. I still think there's some little weirdy-beardy with his forehead.
Who knows? Like, look, man, he's taking a lot of damage. Maybe it was some shit that was like, like pre-cracked. It was pre-fucked up. You know what I mean?
That damn dude's part
Anyway.
of the Illuminati.
I'm saying.
Right? Like, wasn't there a UFC fighter or a football player just recently saying that he has like micro cracks in his skull
Yeah,
or some crap like that?
Who was that?
I forget who it was, but they were talking about how they went to go get checked out and they had like little tiny like cracks in their skull. So I mean, you know, a lifetime of fighting like Cyborg, especially with his ex-wife,
Well,
you know,
wait.
I'm sure he took a couple lumps to the head.
Well, then for sure, go get that fucking checked out too. What the hell? All right. Other results here from the card was Gabriel Benitez takes out Jason Knight. Not takes him out, beats him by unanimous decision after a weird like finger biting bullshit, whatever the fuck that was.
Oh, he bit him. That was strange, man.
That was weird. You know what Jason Knight said? Jason Knight said that Benitez put his fingers in his mouth.
Well,
He did.
But was it on purpose?
Yeah, he tried to fish hook him, so he got his fingers bit. I mean, both of them were trying to skirt the line of rules there. Yeah, go back and you can see from a different. They have a good angle of it where as Jason Knight goes in, you see Benitez's fingers like he's literally like fingering Jason Knight's mouth, and then like he just bites down, and then you see it is what it is.
And they took a point from Jason Knight.
You see, this is a good show for us to have. We're all so trash, Mexicans and fucking hillbillies. Goddamn, get us in the ring. Well, goddamn Mexicans trying to fish hook us. The goddamn hillbilly bites him.
Hey, bro,
we're so trash. We all deserve each other.
We're just trying to get revenge for Eric Perez getting fish hooked by Brian Caraway. Fuck all that shit. All right, that was fucking clear as day.
Whatever the fuck happened to Brian Caraway? Does he still fight?
I don't know, man.
I literally have not heard hide nor hair from him.
He's waiting for some guy to be injured, and then he'll call him out. You know how he does.
I mean, all jokes aside, is he injured? I don't know why he's not. I haven't heard nothing from fucking Brian Caraway at all.
I think he had a fight scheduled, and he had to pull out. He was going to fight in one of these cards, I believe, and he had to pull out. So
okay.
What a big bitch. Anyway. I don't like Brian Caraway. I'm not making a secret of that. All right. So yeah, Scott Holtzman beats Darrell Ultra by unanimous decision. Eric Anders over Perez by decision, and Lopez versus Morales by decision. Not a lot of finishes. Alexis Davis takes out Liz Carmouche. Nothing's about. I hate using that fucking phrase. Beats Liz Carmouche by decision. I didn't agree with that, but did you see Alexis Davis's head? Y'all see that shit? It was like 3D. Like it was out here. Like this side of it was normal, and then big old fucking like lump right fucking here. And I was like, that's the chick that won. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. And Perez over Alcantara, Frankie Saenz over Javashvili. I don't know. Jesse, did you watch the whole card?
No, I missed most of it. I think I just ended up watching from like Liz Carmouche on up, So
yeah, this card was trash as fuck. Let's be honest. I mean, the names weren't all that big. The fights weren't all that great. There was a handful of fights that were decent. The rest of them you could never watch and you'd be just fine.
Yeah.
Special shout out to Eric Andrews because I thought he was going to gas out, and he really toughed it out and really put a dominant performance. So that guy was pretty awesome.
Yo, special shout out to WME. And I know that's going to come as a surprise. Yeah. But special shout out to y'all for getting some ring card bitches with some fat asses. I don't know if you guys have noticed this.
I saw it.
But UFC girls used to have no butt. All of a sudden, them hoes come off the stage and they got all kinds of butt cheeks bouncing around. I'm like, son of a bitch.
They even told him, give him smaller, whatever underwear.
Bottoms.
Bottoms. There you go. Give him smaller bottoms.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, we're gonna see like old school Vita Guerra come out and hold some ring card. I don't give a shit.
What I'm talking about.
Before Vita Guerra started doing CrossFit, she had a big old booty. Like, woo.
Yeah.
Then she lost it. I was like, bitch, what you doing? Anyway, no. But Danford Morgan says that Caraway had Rivera, and then most recently was supposed to face Luke Sanders. So
fair.
Miguel Lopez versus Albert Morales was fight of the night. Anyway, so overall, it's weird. Like the more we're winding down to the year, the less people are watching. We're all just waiting for 219, basically. But we do have an event this weekend. UFC Winnipeg headlined Robbie Lawler. Lawler's back against RDA.
This event is dope. This event is really, really good, actually.
Look, with Robbie Lawler coming back, this is his first fight since he lost to Tyron Woodley, right? Or am I
yeah, it is. It is.
I thought for sure he
fight was the Cowboy fight.
Right, the Cowboy fight. Sorry. So he came back, beat Cowboy, and now he's fighting RDA. Look, a win over. We'll start with Jesse here. A win over Cowboy, and they say he beats RDA. Is that guy next to the title shot?
Yeah, I think he's done enough to cement himself back at the top. I mean, how many fights does he have to do to get another title shot? I mean, he was a champ, dominant, defended it 3 times basically.
Yep.
So, or 4 times, something like that. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think he needed this much of warm-up fights or, number 1 contender fights to get back up there. I think, even after that Cowboy fight, for me, that would have been enough. But, I think give it to him. With a dominant win, a Robbie Lawler win, he should get a title shot.
I'm with you on that. And of course, look, man, RDA is kind of undersized he is undersized for 170. He's facing a real 170 here with knockout power and everything. But Lawler's chin has been, cracked. I mean, and RDA hits like a mule, man. Like, what do you think happens there?
I mean, anything can happen, right? RDA could definitely catch him, but I would imagine that Robbie Lawler would be the pretty big favorite in this fight. He's going to be the bigger guy, and yeah, he can get cracked, but he can also take a pretty good shot. I mean, anybody can get caught, right?
Yeah.
Like he got hit by Tyron Woodley in the first round. Yeah, I mean, much as I like to bag on Tyron, in that first round, that motherfucker does hit very, very, very hard. So. Yeah. Like that ain't no really, it is what it is. He shouldn't have got clipped by Tyron. If you do, you'll get put out. So, I mean, listen, I do think that RDA is undersized. If you've been watching this show for a long time or fucking with me on Twitter or follow me, you know that I have never really been a believer of RDA. Even when he was the lightweight champ, I've just for some reason never really felt like he was that dude. So I don't see him winning this fight. But even if he does, I don't see him beating Tyron Woodley. Now, on the flip side, if Robbie wins, I do think he needs to win impressively. If he gets a finish, absolutely he gets the next title shot. No debate about it. If it's kind of boring and it's a bit of a shit show, then I guess we'll have to come back to that. But even if fucking RDA finishes Robbie Lawler, I mean, I know a lot of people will say he should get it. For me personally, for my taste, I just don't really want to see RDA get the title shot at 170.
Me neither, because he get killed anyway.
That's what I think.
So yeah. All right. The co-main event is Ricardo Lamas versus Josh Emmett. It was supposed to be Jose Aldo, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But the best part, and let me make sure it's still there because it was fucking hilarious. If you go to UFC.com right now and you go to their schedule, I believe the photo, the cover still has RDA and Robbie Lawler, in the front. Behind RDA is Ricardo Lamas. Yep, and behind Lawler, I'll just fucking post it on here. I find this fucking funny. They've had weeks, if not longer, to change this shit, and they have it. Look at that shit.
Old Jose there in the back.
Yep. They're like fucking Josh Emmett.
Listen, man, don't they've got Serkinov and Glover on this card, right?
No, Serkinov and Glover. Yeah, sorry. Who's Cannonier fighting now?
No, well, there's another big fight too on the main card. Like, why not just make one of those?
No, yeah. So, all right. So, my bad.
Sorry, I'm jumping the gun, but like, I'm just saying you can make one. Why not just drop Ricardo Lamas? I mean, tough titty, said the kitty, but now you have to open up the card and make,
Right. So if I'm in the UFC, I open the main card with Lamas Emmett, and my co-main is this fucking firefight between Ponzinibbio and Mike Perry.
That was the
fight.
Right.
Crazy fight, dude. No fucking joke. So that right there is a firefight. Now, Mike Perry. What was that? Was Darren Till, right? Was the one that was like, I want to fight Mike Perry.
Yeah.
And then, Mike Perry went up there like a fucking weirdo. They gave him a microphone for whatever reason. And he's just like, I'll take care of business with Ponzinibbio. But after that, I'll come take care of Mr. Till or some bullshit like that. Is that a fight you're interested in if he wins?
Fuck yeah.
They're just going to fuck him up.
I'm interested in that fight right now, but I mean, he's got to beat Ponzinibbio, which Ponzinibbio might beat. I mean,
Ponzi's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, man, he is legit as fuck. So, yeah, I mean, shit. If Perry can get past dude, then fuck yeah, let's do the damn thing.
Yeah. And
I'm
real quick,
down.
Jesse had to roll out, so he had to drop.
Okay.
He's actually working right now, so he had to go. Anyway,
Gotcha.
all right, just a couple more things here before we roll out.
Yep.
On this card as well, just like you were saying, Teixeira Circunov's on there. Cannonier vs. Blackowicz is on there, which is a low key big fight.
That's dope too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see 205.
Yeah, there you go. Darren Stewart's back. The Dennis, which is a fucking baller nickname, against Julian Marquez. Chad Laprise against Galore Bofando. Tim Elliott's back at 125 against Pietro Menga. McDessie's back against Abel Trujillo. That's another fucking low key, like badass fight. John McDessie against Abel Trujillo.
Yeah, fuck yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
And then Alessio Di Chirico, yeah, against Oluwale Bangbos. That's a good fight.
Oh, is Bangbosa the fucking wily little prick that's got the real kind of unorthodox style?
He's 185. He's the Holy War Angel.
Yeah. That cat's fun. He's very awkward and unique.
Yeah, it's really.
He fights like one of the characters from Bloodsport.
He really does.
In like Brazil or Southern Africa or some shit.
He really does. And then how the mighty have fallen. Eric Silva's in the early prelims against Jordan Mine. Damn. Mean. Nordine Taylor against Danny Roberts kicks off the entire thing. So honestly, for a free card, yeah, good fights. It's a good card. Definitely watch this shit.
Good. Actually, bruh, Eric Silva and Jordan Meehan is a bar burner. That will be. Listen, I mean, if it goes past 2 rounds, it might get a little dicey, but the first round or 2 of that fight is guaranteed fucking violence and fun.
Yep. And Jordan Meehan, I like Jordan Meehan a lot. And Eric Silva and stuff, stop taking, supplements, unfortunately.
Whatever, man. You know what? I've come around with the whole steroid thing. I don't even care no more.
Just let him do it.
Yeah, it's whatever, bro. I'm just fine.
You were so mad at Jones and Silva. Now you're like Anderson Silva. You're like, fuck it,
man.
Fuck it.
At this point, fuck it. Let them do it. I don't care.
Yeah. All right. Couple more things here. So that's your card this weekend from Winnipeg. Early prelims are 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time. FS1 prelims 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time, and the main card on Fox. Main card's on Fox. Everything else are prelims. FS1 early prelims, fight pass, but the main card is on Fox. All right, which tells you they have to make this card big.
Yep. Big Fox.
Had Jose Aldo not moved up to fight Holloway, this would be an even bigger card. But regardless, it's fucking huge already. So definitely go check that out. A couple more things. Tyron Woodley says he's getting shoulder surgery after all. This bothered me because he was talking mad shit about fighting Nate. And now he's like, I can't fight Nate. Oh, my shoulders hurt. Oh, I gotta have surgery. The fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so done with Tyron Woodley, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Some people you can't love them all, man. I don't know, man. It's always something with dude. He's always like searching for a money fight that I don't really feel like he's earned or deserves.
Right.
He's not really worthy of the money fight per se yet. Like I don't know, man. He needs to quiet down a little bit and just do his work. Do work, man. Now he needs shoulder surgery. It's like, goddamn, Tyron, you run your yap and then you can't fight. Come on, man. Let's go.
And that bothers the fuck out of me because it's like, why you kind of talking all that shit?
Well, right.
Look, okay, you tell me. I think he, for example, he fights like a Colby Covington. I think Woodley fucks him up.
He should, yeah. I mean, quite frankly, I ain't really sold on Colby Covington. I mean, I almost feel like 70's kind of whack right now or something. I'm sorry, but I just kind of do. Like Tyron's the king, and and Colby Covington, Covington versus Tyron Woodley for the 170-pound strap. Like, not to be a complete fucking cunty fighter basher, but who's really getting fired up for that fucking title fight? You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you here then, because GSP dropped his belt.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if his butthole's not bleeding or whatever's going on with that, fucking, I would love to see him come back at 70. That would be interesting. I never thought he was suited for 85 anyways. Quite frankly, I'm kind of surprised he did what he did to Bisping, but,
Hey, if I ever do this shit again, this little angle here, tell me to cut the shit out, okay? I did this right now. You know what I just saw? Evil Eddie from Pure, that other show, Evil MMA. That dude has gauges right here, and because my earphones are black, it looked like I'm like, God damn.
Oh, shit. Like, whoa. Yeah.
Never let me do that shit again. What the fuck?
Gotcha.
Nah, and Ed's cool. I like Ed, but it's just like I just did that right there, and it was like, oh,
uncanny.
shit. Yeah, it's really weird. I think the beards and all that shit and the hat and all that. I'm gonna have to come up. Ed, fucking hey, dude, you took the style. I gotta start wearing a beanie and shit now. Anyway, other stuff here. Just looking at the last minute news here. Nothing too big. Stipe was on the JRE earlier today, so of course, clickbait.com and MMA Junkie and all these motherfuckers all have, or clickbaitfighting.com. So everyone knows what I'm talking about. Has like every article on. Whoa, Stipe said this on Joe Rogan's, and Stipe said that on Joe Rogan. Like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of that.
Yeah, I watched a lot. I watched a whole bunch of it. I'm like, wow, I just couldn't wait. I'm like, oh, the articles are gonna be flying out of here.
You know what though?
That fight, though. What?
What? I like Stipe. He's an Ohio boy. He's as tough as they come. He seems like a very great dude, fucking real firefighter, a real man's man. But you know what? He had Joe Rogan had on Duncan Trussell and
Christopher Ryan.
That fucking episode was way better.
Dude, they were throwing shitless. Dude,
I love that Duncan Trussell dude, man. He is a character.
Duncan takes it so far. Like you'll
so
be laughing.
gnarly.
You be laughing and you're like, okay, get back up for a second. Explain what the fuck you were talking about.
Yeah, man.
Acid weirdo. What the hell? I like Duncan. I like Duncan a lot. He's funny as shit. All right. I think it's gonna do it for us tonight, man. It's been a long night, and I actually got to go to work like right now. So.
All right, big time.
It's one of those nights. All right, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Dan from Oregon. By the way, Dan had a good little thing on Twitter the other day. We talked about UFC going to college towns, but not lowering their prices. Which means that because it's on a college campus, the crowds didn't show up because it's too expensive to go to the fucking the fight.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah, and you would think that the UFC would lower tickets so college students could try and make it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so he had a really good thing. And Dan, if you could like retweet it or something so people could check it out, because that was a good point. I forgot when he tweeted. It was like on a really slow MMA day and nobody was talking about anything.
The cards are of a lesser quality too, so they should be a little cheaper.
You think, right? But like the cheapest tickets were like awful tickets for like way more than $50. And if anyone knows anything about college students, they could barely afford ramen. So it's hard. It's hard sales with that shit. So yeah, Dan, if you could retweet that real quick or some way to get it to me so I could retweet it out. It's a really interesting discussion that they ended up having on that thread there. All right. So shout out to Dan, UCH. What up, dude? Thanks for coming on here. Priya Rose was on here earlier. Might still be. Joey Tremendous. I haven't seen him on Twitter at all. I think what's funny about Joey? Joey's like Twitter just goes silent. He'll tweet like 2 things and then you won't hear from him for like 3 months and then he'll be back for no reason. Anyway. All right, let's go do it first, ladies and gentlemen. Follow Jesse at Spawat1983. You can follow Blake from Loaded Joe's at Loaded Joe's MMA on Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you hit him up on iTunes as well and all the other podcast spots. Fred just put out another episode of the Gem City Jesus podcast. Let him know, Fred.
Yo, speaking of that, we'll just have this conversation quickly on air.
Sure, yeah.
We need to get on iTunes. I still haven't gotten no fucking email back or nothing. I don't know why they didn't accept that shit. I know it's not because we're that fucking bad, fucking ill-mannered on the podcast. We just it's the stupid technology thing. I think it's got something to do with the RSS feed or some fucking stupid shit.
I think it was dumb. It was something to do with like the first time when I tried to fix it the last time, it was something to do with making sure that the episodes are labeled as explicit. I'll jump on it again tomorrow, dude, and I'll let you know what's up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but we're going to be coming to iTunes right now. We're just on SoundCloud. So SoundCloud, Gym City Jesus, if you want to check it out. We look, man, it's like this kind of, but it's me and my homies in a room and we're talking about everything non-fight related. I love doing the MMA podcast with all of my MMA heads online. But there's a lot of other shit that I like to talk about. So I created this other podcast where I have an outlet to talk about all this shit, man. Everything from on this episode, we talk about Bitcoin rising up and being a big thing. We talk about the wildfires in California and how Trump's shitting on the EPA. We talk about the Keaton Jones kid. Dana White retweeted that video and then come to find out that might have been some bullshit. His mama was a racist with the Joe Schilling thing. Yeah. So, we discuss a whole bunch of other different shit. If you're interested in that, find us on SoundCloud, Gym City Jesus, and give us a listen.
Yeah, and now that you remind me, I need to make sure to upload your that show onto Stitcher and Google Music and all that. So, we'll get working on that, dude. No problem.
Cool.
Right, anyway, so you can follow Kirby at Kirby_MMA. You can follow me at Elo31 on Twitter. The Instagram is at Keyboard Warriors MMA. iTunes, we're on iTunes. Just look up Keyboard Warriors MMA, you'll find us. We're the only ones with that name, luckily, so it works out. KeyboardWarriorsMMA.com. Shout out to SpicyPros.com. Shout out to Represent. I got some new gear today, which is pretty baller. And I'll be showing that off next show, I guess, because it's still in the box. But thank you guys for sponsoring us. Go hit up repthewarriors.com. Get yourself some good shit. Hey, Christmas is coming. Hit that shit up.
There it is.
Right? Hit that shit up. All right. All right. For myself, Jesse, Fred, the whole team, everybody, Blake from Loaded Joe's MMA. Appreciate you guys coming on and watching and talking on the chat. I'm gonna go blow my nose because my allergies are killing me. Y'all have a good night and good night, Wilshire.